All right, folks. So we are gathering into a new year, and hopefully all is well and everybody's healthy, and people are striving to be prosperous as well. I have with me Ruthie Tucci, and she's going to tell me a little bit about what is new. Those of you who don't know her, may be in for a treat. So, Ruthie, if you don't mind, can you just describe yourself and also what is new? Because we haven't been on for quite a while. So, there are those that know you, and I have a few new people who are perhaps new to you. If you want to describe like yourself and some of the things that are coming up.
I'm retired. I'm a retired school teacher. I taught technology at Columbia University, Brevard Community College, and several high schools throughout the Rochester, Buffalo area, and Finger Lakes as well. And I live in Florida now. I love technology. I founded DomainAvenue.com ages ago. It's still up and running in Hong Kong. And I started an affiliate site as a customer with Bank Coin Reserve. But the owner, the original creator of BCR, Bank Coin Reserve, has decided he's going to carry on his own. So we started a new coin, a benevolent coin to help the needy, called Global Humanitarian Reserve. And that's how I entertain myself. You could find us at ghr.network. Other than that, I enjoy the view from my window and watching the boats go by, and sometimes planes land on the lake because they're bringing customers in to the restaurant. There's a restaurant on the lake here at Killarney Lake in Winter Park, Florida.
And so I'll describe myself, and then Joe can come on and basically describe himself. Well, my name is Brian. I used to work for my father's company, the Scene Doc, and I've done things in both adult sports and cinema, and basically movies and cultures have always been rather important to me. So, and I've teamed up with Joe, and Joe was here, but he is not anymore.
It's New Year's.
Yeah, it is New Year's, but I also Joe is here. Joe is here.
I am here. Sorry about that. I am Brian. Oh, good. Okay. Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't hear what we were doing here. Were you doing a little intro? I just got in.
I'm doing a little bit of an intro, and I met Joe because I thought Joe was funny, and he was part of my late father's film festival, the Back Lot Film Festival.
Indeed.
And we've moved on from there, and so we've both been in the entertainment field, and now we are here, Transparency and Merit. We're going to discuss some of the new things that may happen within this year. Joe, why don't you describe yourself? I'm going to put myself and Ruthie on mute, so you'll be the only one that's going to be heard.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? Describe myself?
Well, just describe, like, your perhaps some of the background, any of the background that you feel comfortable in.
Yeah. So I have a pretty interesting background as far as if you were to look at my resume, I've worked for some pretty amazing big companies, but I've always preferred working for smaller ones. and I've been in the psychotherapy field now for, wow, I don't even know, 12, 14 years, maybe longer. I don't even know. But and even that really never really quenched my thirst for what I really want to get done in this life. So yeah, I guess I'm still a kid in that sense. I'm a little bit emotionally retarded in some ways, but definitely when it comes to work, I guess you could say I'm I like just like collaborating, working on projects and stuff. So I don't know if that was what you were going for, so Brian and I have been doing shows too for 10 years. I think this is our 11th year now of doing shows. We've had several incarnations. I do my own shows every once in a while. Brian does his own shows once in a while, but I think it's our collaborations that have really been fun because we've fostered a whole bunch of new relationships, all kinds of friends, and it's been quite the ride. I don't know. So I'll leave it there. Pass it along.
All right. So I'm gonna do the first question of the day. I mean, that I have on my mind.
Yes.
So we'll start with Ruthie, and then Joe, we'll start with you, and then you'll start with Ruthie, and then I'll give my answer, and then Joe will give his. So Ruthie, what do you think is going to happen with this pandemic next for the year 2022? Are there going to be any changes, or will it stay pretty much the same?
It'll stay pretty much the same, but it'll end by 2023. It's taken longer than we expected, but people have gotten used to not working, to working out of their homes. They're isolating themselves and liking it. I think people will enjoy the status quo for 2022. See, it doesn't interfere with business. Business is going on as usual. It is.
Now, will there be any change in the stock market next year?
There's no way to predict that. There's no way to predict that. I think it'll go the same way it's been through 2021. It hasn't been a dramatic change. Corporations are doing quite well, even with people stuck in their homes. What do you think, Joe?
Well, I'm going to go with me, and then I'll go with Joe because I have to put
okay.
Joe's on mute while we're talking, so the background noise. But I'm just going to go with me, and I might put Republic of Liberty, but Republic of Liberty cannot use any profanity and no foulness while Ruthie is here. So if he agrees to those rules, then I will let him in. I mean, I'll let him in, but I do not want to hear any profanity. And you have, if he does, so I'm gonna give him a link, but he has to stick to the topic, and he cannot deviate. And if he does that, then I will kick him out. So he has his, I want to follow certain rules. So I think we will see less restrictions this upcoming year. And yeah, I think by 2023, we will probably go back to some normalcy. Joe, what do you think?
Oh, right. Well, I don't think it's that easy. I think changes. You guys sound to me very much like how people were sounding after 9/11 and the Patriot movement, Patriot Act, when that was signed through, and there was this kind of attitude like, well, I think things will get back, but it ain't. That's not what this is about. I don't think they whoever they is, I don't think it's their game to make such dramatic changes and then just pull everything back. This is going to take a full-fledged effort if people truly want change. In my view, COVID is covered identification. It's this is a long. This is a financial reboot, an economic system rebooting, and it's a delicate issue though, and I don't like to get into these sort of conversations too much, but I think in the following in this year coming, it's going to take a whole lot of more people to stand up and say, to hell with giving up more of our rights for something that is has a lot of shaky science surrounding it. I'll leave it there. All right, that's it.
Howard,
It's not a reboot; it's a slaughter. And
Explain that.
100%. And Ruthie's 100% wrong.
okay, please.
Sorry, it's not going to
You can
change.
agree. You can agree or disagree. Why?
Well, I'll just let you know, the Jew is back. I had slept all of yesterday, mostly all of yesterday, and took 2 doses of ivermectin. But the Jew has returned. Doesn't seem like there's any brain fog left. Nothing's going to change because the governments don't want anything to change. And the people are too stupid to see what's going on. Although a lot of people are waking up, a lot of people are realizing that what they're being told by the government just isn't true. And it's not just one government, it's all the governments. I don't know of a government that's telling its people the truth anywhere. Here in Thailand, there in America. But then again, you guys don't demand the truth, do you? You don't want to know. You really don't want to know the truth. And if you think that this is not a slaughter, so you go and you find all the people that used to work in restaurants and had made decent money and put food on the table and have now plowed through their savings because they haven't had any work because the restaurant business got destroyed. You tell me it's a reset. A reset doesn't denote that it's a destruction, that it's absolute destruction. Look at all the people who work in the service field and in feeding people who work in offices who no longer are going to work in offices. And look at the lies being perpetrated by our government. Well, so far it's my government. It may not be for long. But look at how many people are being lied to by this government. The Omicron comes through. It's got cold symptoms. I should know. I just had it. Cold symptoms, brain fog, a cough, but no sore throat, phlegm, but not congested. All sorts of abnormalities that popped up. And yet, it's the most terrible thing in the world. Oh my God, it's going to be worse than the Delta variant. The governments, including here in Thailand, because America can't stop it, Thailand shut the doors again. These dumb bastards. Oh, by the way, it's okay with Ruthie if I say the word bastard. It's okay, Ruthie, right?
All right.
Oh, shut up.
Like to be all right with Ruthie. These dumb bastards here in Thailand closed the gates and left a mix of Delta and Omicron. I got lucky enough to catch the Omicron. I know where I caught it. My friend Andrew is in the ICU. He just told me this morning it's obvious he's got the Delta variant because these people aren't even smart enough to figure out that the Omicron is a lot less dangerous than the Delta. They should open the doors and let all the Delta in that they can. Displace that Delta with the Omicron. But they're not doing that. So they're going to kill my friend, maybe. Maybe he'll live, maybe he won't. He doesn't seem to think he will. But he had a whole bunch of symptoms different than mine. So what's going to change? And is it a reset or is it a total ruination? I say it's a total ruination and it just keeps coming. And look at what the U.S. government's doing. They're eating their own. So you guys making money on PayPal, good luck with that. You'll have the IRS sniffing in your pants in about a year. It'll take them that long to do it. They didn't hire all the people they said they were going to hire, but then again, now PayPal and Venmo and all the other ones, as soon as you do anything, they report you to the IRS because you obviously must be a criminal doing whatever it is that you're doing. You don't mind your business being told to the government, do you? You don't care. You don't care if they tax you, if they use a inflationary tax to sap your wealth. And one of the best explanations I heard last night, I may have heard it before, but it certainly made sense when I heard it last night. Why should the government be quick in getting inflation to come down when they benefit from it? So all the debts that they have to pay, they benefit from using inflation to pay off the debts. So what do they care about you? Why should they care? They don't. It's absolute ruination, destruction. It's an explosion. And who's getting battered? United States people. I'm sorry. I should have said the U.S. persons.
That's right. Yeah.
Are you concluded? Ruthie, do you have any comment on that?
It's good to hear him again.
Well, I will say this, that was a lot to digest, but things change, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worst.
Give me an example of something changing for the better in the last 2 years. Go.
Well, I said you're giving me a scenario of the last 2 years.
I just gave you 2 years. You can't think of anything in the last 2 years that got better?
I'll give you a better one. Why don't you tell me some good economic news that's happened in the last 5 years? Can't find it.
Well, I'll tell you this. The one thing that's gotten better is there has been a whole gig economy, Grubhub, and a lot of delivery services.
I see. So a big conglomerate made lots of money on the backs of people who drive the food around, who don't get paid what they should get paid. So big corporations get money, they get rich. The people who are driving around bust their backs to get the food to you. In fact, especially to you. You're probably on the wall of the CEO of Grubhub. They probably know where you live. I'll bet you a buzzer goes off in his office every time you order an Alfredo.
Yeah. Well, all right. So
that's your evidence of things getting better?
Well,
a big multinational corporation got big and made lots of money. And do you know who owns Grubhub?
Who owns Grubhub?
I don't know. I just asked you that question. Wasn't that apparent to you? Let me try it again. Do you know who owns Grubhub?
No, I don't.
I'd be willing to bet that if you looked up who owns Grubhub, it's probably owned by a bunch of multinational corporations that are involved in the whole pandemic and have benefited off of it. Just like Bill Gates, who buys up stocks, not in things like vaccines and whatnot, but he buys up stocks that benefit from the pandemic. So the worse the pandemic gets, the more that bastard Bill Gates makes. That's his MO. So I'll ask the question again. What has gotten better in the last 2 years from the pandemic?
I'm not really sure. I think perhaps.
So then you're going to have to fall back.
Let me. In the last 2 years, I mean, perhaps technology. Ruthie, do you know of anything that has gotten better during the last 2 years?
Are you tapping out? Is Ruthie tapping in?
I guess if that's what you want to call it.
I'm here.
Yeah.
All right. Please call it a tap out. Just tap out and hand it over to Ruthie.
Howard, please. Ruthie, do you?
Yes.
What do you think has gotten better in the last 2 years, if anything?
Civility. People have calmed down a bit when they're out in the street. they tend to then act like a mob. But in homes, people are calming down and things are not as urgent. This thing about I have to be at work, I have to be at the office, I have to be at, that's calmed down. There's nothing.
Ruthie, are you kidding me? Murder's up in every city in America. Antifa will hit you in the back of the head with a sock full of quarters. Not think about it.
He said that
And
murder. He said that murder
child
is.
abuse and spousal abuse is way up. What are you talking about?
You're right. I may live in a bubble. Forgive me. I may not be exposed to all of that. I'll tell you something that happened that's helped me tremendously. I had to cut way back on the amount of news I digested. I was a news junkie, and it was making me literally sick and sad and distressed. And I thought, let me see a little less news until I cut it in half. Then I cut it down to 25%. I don't expose myself to the hard news anymore like I used to. I admit that. And
well, where would you even get news? Let me rephrase that. Where would you get news that is accurate?
China Daily, Sky News, BBC London, not BBC US. I find that they're pretty routine. The news pretty much matches what they're saying.
So you don't listen to Steve Bannon, Alex Jones. You don't listen to any of the doctors that have started podcasting. You don't listen to any of that.
On a very limited basis. Because these variants have changed, and we went from the variants to Omicron, and some of the organizations that are benefiting financially from the situation don't change their story. They stick to the same line, which I see as more propaganda than news. And if 3 months later the news is the same, exactly the same, which is impossible, then I know it's propaganda. So I just move on. I backed up. I can't change the world, so I just backed up a bit. I don't digest as much news as I used to. I just don't. I don't enjoy it. I also don't like the way people use media to speak horribly to one another. For instance, I haven't heard your voice in a long time. And I was really very happy to hear you again, to hear your voice.
You should come here. I speak horribly to the two of them all the time.
You moved to Thailand, didn't you?
I am still in Thailand, looking at the beaches we speak.
Oh, you see, but that brought me joy. I remembered you. I remember the discussions we had on the air, and we had differences of opinion, and how enjoyable it was. And I liked that civility. I liked that discourse and transfer of ideas back and forth. I really enjoyed that with Joe and yourself and with Brian. I enjoyed that.
If you want a acerbic comment,
I don't miss the fighting.
If you want acerbic comment and violent, vicious attacks, you should tune into this show because I do that to them all the time.
Mm-hmm. So someone just sent me a thing that said Chicago carjacking is up 40%, and I believe Howard is correct that crime in America is up tremendously. Will there be a change with that and with crime in general? Will law and order?
I'll tell you the one change I've already seen, and it's by the IRS. The IRS is now has now made it possible for thieves to literally report they've got to treat what they steal as income and report it. I'm not kidding you. That's
Well,
in the
I
IRS
have
code
news.
now.
I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are, but I have news for you. Under the law, thievery, what you earn, is taxable. And you can report your taxable income, which was due to theft, to the IRS, and they can't prosecute you, nor can they give your information to law enforcement. And it's always been that way.
So would the benefit then to just show that you have income, right? So you can now show your income, but yet marijuana, it's still federally not allowed.
I'm just telling you, it's always been that way. There's nothing new.
Oh.
That's not new.
I thought it was new. I read something about it, and it appeared new to me. I hadn't heard that before.
I mean, it looks shocking, and it looks it looks to
quite a
be
loophole.
sensationalist, but it's not. It's the way it's always been. They won't turn you in to other agencies. They'll happily take your money.
I didn't know that thieves could actually report their income from theft.
Well, they're required to report their income according to the IRS.
I didn't think
it's income.
Report what they stole. I didn't think that.
It's income.
Well, it's new to me. I didn't know that thievery was now a form of income.
Even if it was due to a murder and you stole money from somebody, it's still income.
I didn't know that.
That's news to me as well.
Well, the Jew is full of news.
Okay.
Okay, I'm on the IRS website. What page is it on?
Howard?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question.
She is on the IRS. Ruthie is on the IRS website. What page is it on?
You know, I'm not sure what the code is. I would have to go and find one of the stories I read. I did see the story.
Well, no, it's
so.
Ruthie. It's Ruthie. It's Ruthie.
It's not on the IRS website. It's not on the IRS website. It's in the code.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do the next question. What, and this goes to Ruthie first, and then we'll go around to Joe and then to Howard. What do you think the new thing in tech will be? Ruthie?
Well, metaverse is making quite the move, but I think that maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll last 4 to 6 years. And then it'll morph into something else.
Yeah, the metaverse is going to be the metaverse, though, really is nothing new. It's just a fancy repackaging of a technology we've had around, and you know, it's interesting, but they're going to make it so. You remember even your cousin, he was into it 10 years ago. He was talking about the Oculus and all that, and so
Right.
this whole thing's going to be totally mainstreamed, and you're just going to see a bunch of people with these headsets on living their lives. It's going to be weird. I will never put one of those on, by the way.
You know what? I think I might buy myself an Oculus because I do believe that people think in pictures, and I think Oculus. It's one of my hopes that Oculus will be a new thing of the future, like one of the new gadgets out there, and I think it would be great for learning and good for memory learning. Howard, what anything new in technology that you think is going to emerge?
You didn't even answer your own question. Aren't you looking for trends?
Okay, go ahead. I mean,
the trend is to watch you. The trend is to ramp up the watching of you. The spy technology is going to blow out the doors in the next couple of years. And they're already doing it in Israel, which I was going to go to and make Aliyah. Not going to do that anymore. Not until they find their collective senses and fix themselves. You can't go anywhere. Even here in Thailand, they had fireworks at Bali High Pier near where I live. Okay, well, you can't go there unless you show them 2 vaccinations, which I have. Big deal. I still got the Omicron, which, again, useless. But you can't go there unless you pretend that you're playing with the crowd. And that is that you got 2 vaccinations, which is soon to be 3 because you're not going to be vaccinated unless you've been jabbed 3 times. So surveillance is going to be ratcheted up. And as the black people like to say, it's going to be real ratchet because you're not going to like it. The people that have a brain on their head that still functions are going to know what's being pried into in their lives. And you can start with all this IRS stuff, all this stuff that's going on right now, all this information about you that's being given out to government agencies. That's just the beginning. Now you're going to get the surveillance where if you want to go and get yourself a hamburger at Burger King, which I know is going to severely limit your alimental intake, if you want to go get yourself a hamburger at Burger King, you're going to have to prove that you're vaccinated just to go through the drive-through. Hasn't happened yet, but that's coming. So your entire life is going to be turned upside down. There's going to be fingers poking into you, just like they do at TSA. When you go through and some guy uses the same blue colored glove that he's been wearing since 10 o'clock this morning when he started his shift, and it's now 4 o'clock. And his hands have been in the pants of about 50 people between you and the time he started at 10 o'clock. He hadn't changed those gloves because those gloves aren't there to protect you. They're there to protect him. And you take it. You're going to say, yes, Mr. Filthy Old Man with the sly grin. Sure, you can put your hands in my pants. Oh, yeah, you can reach down below my waist inside my dress. No problem. Do what you got to do. I want to fly. You're going to accept it like a lemming, like the sheep that you all are.
Okay.
And you're going to protect these businesses who have been given this job to do that's not their job. Burger King is there to give you food. You give them money, they give you food. Hopefully, they get a couple extra ketchup packages when they ask for it, and everything works out well. Not for them to stand there and go check your bona fide documents. It's a joke.
Welcome
Goodbye
to the
your
show, Pia
privacy.
Sedora. Welcome, Pia Sedora. Good point there. I'm just going to add in, if you know, I'm sorry. Were you done, by the way, or do you have more? I'm sorry, cut you off. Were you done? Okay. We were talking about changes, and I think that getting back to our inflationary economy, whatever inflation-based economy, whatever it is now, it's just ridiculous. We're about to hit another major wave, our 3rd wave. It's going to be awful. It's already been awful. It's crazy how high the prices are. But why are they doing that? I think that this is just to drive the dollar into complete oblivion, and so they can usher in a nationalized, I don't know, worldwide crypto coin of some kind. And I think if people allow this to happen without really fortifying their financial situation, by non-debt assets, people need to start accumulating these things, period. But the point is that if we go to a system that's completely run on a crypto coin, that actually does worry me. I think that would be our greatest loss of freedom ever. I think they would have everybody buy their nutsack and just imagine going to try to withdraw money from your bank and not being able to get any because, oh, sorry, your crypto's being held up because you haven't paid your car registration, or something's on
You're
late payment.
overlooking something.
Yep.
You're overlooking
that?
something very big.
What's that?
Well, you wake up today and you have $5,000 in the bank. Yesterday you had 8,000. There's no debit, no credit. It just went from 8,000 to 5,000. Tell me, who do you call?
Well, that's another thing too. They're talking about all these different keys and methods for keeping everything safe. But you're right. There's no surefire strategy yet
Who
to prevent
controls
hacks.
the number? Wait a minute. Your bank account, your wealth, unless it's sitting in gold or silver, your wealth is a number in a computer. Who controls that number?
Centralized banking system.
Okay, who is that? Who do you go to? Where's the customer service desk?
Well, it's guaranteed now, but I don't know about
Guaranteed by who?
Well,
They say your number's 5,000. You say your number's 8,000. Who's it guaranteed by?
Are you talking about with crypto, or with my current situation, like cash?
I'm talking about your bank account. Your bank account. They say it's
federally,
5. You say
federally
it's
insured.
8. Who do you go to?
It's federally insured.
Okay, where'd you go?
I go to my
bank. The people that run the federal system of numbers say it's 5. You say it's 8. Now what?
Yeah.
All right, guys, do you mind if I go with the next question? There's going to be what they call.
No, stick with that. I know your head didn't. I know you didn't understand that. You think that crypto is a bunch of numbers in a blockchain, and yet your bank account right now is a bunch of numbers in computers. Who runs those computers? Do you know?
The bank.
Oh, the bank. Okay, you gave blood. Where'd you give blood to? You gave blood to the blood bank. Oh, that was very descriptive. Which bank? Which department? Where's the complaint department?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like I ask you, where do you live? Los Angeles. Well, that's very helpful. What part of Los Angeles? I'll start my search for you in Los Angeles somewhere.
There we go. All right.
You go and you trust your money in the banking system every day, and yet you don't know who's responsible for those numbers. Who's ultimately responsible for those numbers? I bet you nobody knows.
All right.
Why don't you go get a $1 bill out of your wallet and read what it says? You have full faith and credit in the United States? Is it backed by the Treasury? Is it a United States dollar, or is it a Federal Reserve note? Who controls the number that says what you own? You think that you're so far from China?
I guess not. So
let me feel the heat
of
a China-like society licking at your skin just lightly. You should feel the warmth of the flame, because that's how close it is to you.
Does anyone have a comment on that, Ruthie?
I think.
Does anyone have an answer to that? I asked a question.
Hold on. Let people respond. Go ahead, Ruthie.
When we're talking about the big reset, we're talking about the change in our monetary system. When technology approached us, say 25 years ago, it touched every industry, every single industry, except for 2, banking and insurance. What's happening now is the resistance. The banks and the insurance companies don't want to have to give up a tremendous position of power that they've had naturally, and no one's ever objected for the last 350 years. There have been no, how would I say, revolutions. No one's gone against it. It's just been accepted calmly. And now people started asking
because they don't understand it. They don't understand it. How can they go against it if they don't understand it?
There are adults with college educations in the United States right now that think that the American dollar is backed by gold. And these are educated people.
Well, they're idiots.
That's not the point. The point is that general idea that from the acceptance of the dollar, it's accepted by consensus, it's respected by consensus, and people decided, nope, you know what? I think I'll handle my own. If we're going to talk about something as simple as this, I can say, I know where my assets are in terms of crypto. I know where they are, and they're not controlled by anybody but me. And I like it that way. Millions of people like it that way around the world. And that's why this reset is looking good to people who, I don't know about cryptocurrency, it's too new, it's too different. Now it doesn't look that odd. Now it doesn't look that different. It's something they're getting used to. Consider the banking career. A person was into accountancy and then banking, and they wound up managing a bank, maybe a VP, a vice president of a bank, branch manager. But they always understood that as the cash, the coupons, because all they are, dollars or coupons, as they came in.
No, ma'am, they're not. No. They're not coupons.
Okay, call it what you want. I call them coupons.
They are notes of debt. A dollar. Debt. How much is the dollar worth? How much is a Federal Reserve note worth?
And
hold on, let's take it down to the nitty-gritty here.
I'm in the middle of a sentence. The money was distributed to different accounts. And as long as they kept moving it from account to account to account, no one really knew how much the management of any physical particular bank was taking right off the top, and it was tradition. In fact, when you become a Federal Reserve chairperson, one of the perks is that you get so many millions that you get to distribute at your discretion and privately at your discretion to the Red Cross, to United Way, to all sorts of charities. And that was something they looked forward to. One reason
I fundamentally disagree, Ruthie, at the base.
That she was very upset that all of that is gone. Cryptocurrency is transparent. She can't move anything anywhere. And I thought, isn't that something? The only reason this federal chairperson doesn't care for crypto is because it's so transparent.
You've gone so far off. Ruthie, you called it money. You said it's money. I disagree with you. It's not money.
Okay, what do you want to call it? Whatever you want to call it. What do you want to call it? We'll call it that. What? Name it.
Well, what is a Federal Reserve note?
What do you want to call it?
So what do you want to
One thing I call it unconstitutional, because the United States is supposed to control the monetary and the money in circulation, not a third party like the Federal Reserve Bank.
So, so they're doing something unconstitutional. What's going to happen with it?
Well, what should have happened with it back in 1913? It should have been scuttled.
But what should have happened and what's happening are two different things.
That's right, because we have a bunch of criminals in Congress who allow it to happen. For one thing, it's not money. It's a Federal Reserve note. Money would be a United States note. You ever seen one?
Nope.
No, I haven't
seen a United States note. You either.
Okay.
So all you know is what you've seen, which is a Federal Reserve note.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what?
Well, I'm
What?
gonna go get my collection of notes. Some of them are notes, some of them are money. And I'm
Yeah.
going to read to you what's on the note itself. Then I want you to tell me what is a Federal Reserve note and what is money. And if you think that what's represented in your bank account is money, you've been fooled for a very long time.
Yeah. Perhaps a lot of people have been fooled. What does
Well,
that?
let me make it simpler for you.
Okay. Go
Back
ahead.
in Philadelphia, when I was making the rounds of talk radio, I would always catch up with the vice president of the Philadelphia Federal Reserve, who would come on for some kind of, I don't know what their purpose was, but they would always come on and talk with the host about the Fed and what the Fed did. I would always get in line. And when it was my turn to ask them a question, this is the Federal Reserve. When it was my turn to ask a question, I would ask two questions in one sentence. And it was very simple. I would ask the Federal Reserve chairman, the vice chair, is a Federal Reserve note that I have in my pocket now, is it money and is it lawful? They would never answer the question. The answer was always, well, you can buy things with it. I said, no, sir, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, is this note that I'm holding lawful? Number one. And two, is it money? That Federal Reserve chair would not answer that question, not just on one radio show. Finally, on about 7 or 8 radio shows, when I used to dog this bastard all over Philadelphia, he stopped doing those interviews because inevitably he always got to me and always got to that question. And I would ask the question again and say, look, if you're not going to answer the question, people should start wondering why. You ought to be able to say, well, of course it's money.
Is it
And you
legal?
should say to me, of course it's lawful, but you can't.
Wait.
Why?
Wait. Can you? Wait. Is it not legal? Is it not legal tender?
Well,
Legal tender is something else.
legal and law. Yeah. So like a lawyer can act, well, you can act legally or lawfully. Two different concepts.
Okay. I'm hearing like. Wait, Joe. I'm going to put myself on mute so you can be heard better.
I'm good. I'm going to pass it along. Go ahead, Howard. Or
All right. So, yeah, the thing is, supposedly these people are pulling the rug out from under us. What can we do?
Not supposedly. First of all, you don't know what I'm talking about. Why don't you just admit that?
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. And then say to me, Howard, explain it. And I'll explain it very easily.
All right.
I'll just look in my stack of bills, which I have saved up because they're not normal bills. And I'll look at one and I'll just pick one randomly. Let's see. This is a 1935 $1 silver certificate. This is not a Federal Reserve note. And on it, it says this certificate, not a note, certificate, is legal tender for all debts, public and private. And at the bottom, it says $1. And underneath that $1 is in silver, payable to the bearer on demand. Okay. So what am I holding in my hand? Am I holding a dollar or am I holding a certificate? Because if I can get $1 of silver, then obviously what I'm holding in my hand is not a dollar. Not a dollar is what's defined by law. I can go back further, but it even gets better because here's one from 1950. and it's in very small writing. Shit, I'm gonna need my magnifying glass. Man, I am getting old. Let's see if I can try to read this. Nope, I'm not even going to attempt it. I do need a magnifying glass to read this one. Okay, here's what it says. This is a 1935 $10 Federal Reserve note. And this is what it says at the top left. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve branch. Now, go take out a note that you've got in your wallet right now, a Federal Reserve note. Find me the word money on it, and find me the word lawful, because you're not going to find it. So when I ask the Federal Reserve chair, the vice chair, is the dollar in my pocket now lawful? Well, the 1950 version of that Federal Reserve note says the word that it is lawful. And it's lawful because it's redeemable in money, lawful money. Two words are together, lawful and money. So you tell me what you've got in your pocket right now. Are you holding on to lawful money?
This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private.
Where's the word lawful money like it says on my 1950 note? And what's the difference between the one printed in 1950 and the one printed in whatever you have in your pocket? And I'll tell you what the difference is. Silver was backing the dollar. We got off the silver under Nixon.
We got out of
So
gold.
when they went off of silver. No, not gold. Gold was gone in the 30s under Roosevelt.
Well, interestingly, the United States. The United States recognized silver. America recognized gold. I might have that backwards, but I think that's what. I don't know if that's where you're going.
No, I'm going that in 1950, silver was backing the dollar. And then Nixon took us off the silver standard in the 60s, I think. Now the notes don't say lawful currency or lawful money.
I think my father was still in Germany.
We went off the silver standard. Silver was backing the dollar, not gold.
Well, I'm looking right at it. I'm looking at a factual document that says here that Nixon removed gold from the dollar from the gold standard in 1971, August 15th to be exact.
Yeah, Nixon also removed the silver standard. Gold, I believe, was removed prior to that. Doesn't matter.
Well, it was
anything printed. Anything.
We're going to be clear then.
Anything printed after we went off a metal standard doesn't say lawful anymore, and it doesn't say that it's backed by anything, which is what Brian's version says, which says nothing.
Well, yeah. So what? So let me ask you this, Howard. What can we do about this? And it still buys goods. So what can we do about it?
Oh, it still buys goods? Well, listen, I could come to your house,
yes,
steal that Dyson fan, sell it to a junkie for $1, and I can go buy myself a coffee.
Yes, you can.
That doesn't make it lawful.
Well, again, it buys goods and services, whether it's lawful or not.
Okay. So what are you telling me? So you don't care if your money's lawful?
It's still what we use.
Yeah. I mean, what can
so you accept it?
What else? What other option do I have, Howard?
Gold, silver, metals. Those are still currency of date.
Howard, my crypto is far more valuable than gold.
Your crypto is far more valuable than gold? If all the power went off in the world, if there was a solar flare, if there was a solar flare today, how would you prove your value? Yeah, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. If there was a solar flare right now and it went off and it destroyed every electronic device in the world, how would you prove the value of your crypto?
Is that a possibility?
Oh, absolutely.
No.
I'm not going to make an announcement on open air. That's ridiculous. He knows that.
How would you prove the value of your crypto if there was no computer that ran, if there was no electricity? How would you prove it?
People still believe in and still practice diversification, Howard. People don't just buy one thing.
No, that's not my. Oh, well, now you're deviating. You just told me that your crypto is more valuable than gold. And I just asked you.
You stick to it, and you won't open your arms to the possibility of a different viewpoint.
I don't need to open my arms. I asked you a question that requires an answer before I move on. If you told me very clearly that your crypto is worth more than gold. First of all, you didn't tell me how much crypto you've got, and you didn't tell me how it's worth more than gold. But if you have no way of validating your crypto because there's no computer that is available because they've all been toast by a solar flare to beat all solar flares, how would you prove the value of your crypto?
About me personally, I'm talking about a lot of the people like myself who hold crypto know that it has far more value than cash, which is why so much money's been diverted to it.
I'll tell you something, Howard. I think if something like
I didn't say cash. Wait, Brian. Hold on, Brian. I didn't say the word cash. I said gold.
Anyway,
yeah,
like I said,
not anyway. Wait. You don't get to dismiss me. You don't get to dismiss my statement like that. You don't get to dismiss my statement. It was a question. And it was a very valid question, very pointed question, very on the point question. You don't get to dismiss my question. You made a statement. I then asked you a question. You said that crypto is more valuable than gold. And I asked you, how would you value your crypto if there were no computers and no electricity? Would you like to know how I would value my gold? You already know.
Howard?
I'd walk in and put it on a scale.
Yeah, again, I think if there was a solar flare or something that happened where all the computers and everything went down, I think that would be a massive tragedy for everyone, regardless of regardless of whether they had cryptocurrency or not. That will be an absolute disaster. So you are putting forward.
I remember about 7 or 8 years ago when we had a major electrical downing. They didn't call it a blackout. They called it a brownout. It was only on the East Coast, but it affected ATMs. And people went with their card and couldn't see a thing. It would open the account, but it would say you had nothing in it. And that was throughout the entire East Coast. And when the electrical power problem was solved, everything went back to normal.
That's great. In the 1800s, there was a solar flare that took out the telegraph worldwide.
Howard, how are you going to exchange goods for the gold and the silver? If
you barter, you barter, you trade.
okay.
Stores won't
Let
do
me
it.
ask you right now.
Getting a burger
Right now, what do you have?
gold. Try buying a burger. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you buying your burger with crypto? Did you buy that burger with crypto?
I'd rather have bullets than.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
No, not can you. Did you? No, not can you. Did you? Where do you have to go to buy a burger with crypto?
Not very far. Crypto is being accepted by all food delivery places. It's being accepted by restaurants. It's being accepted by Uber. It's being accepted by all the normal things that we do in our lives.
Okay. And when the computer systems that back that turn off, what do?
That used to be a problem 10 years ago, but now because there are so many what I call private and small and carry on generators, that's not an issue anymore. People now use solar energy. I remember being in Eritrea, in Ethiopia, and there they were, solar powering their cell phones. They didn't have a toilet and they didn't have a kitchen, but they had a cell phone.
I'm not talking about your cell phone in the cab. I'm not talking about your cell phone.
Powered with sun.
I'm not talking about your cell phone. Yeah. Well, you're not getting it all. I'm not talking about your phone being powered by sunlight, which you're not going to have, by the way, at 2:00 in the morning.
The phone interface.
Okay, when the computer that runs,
and so does the sun.
when the computer that runs your crypto, when the computer that runs your crypto has no power, how are you going to get to it? It's not your phone, it's the computer that you're going to. When there's a DNS poisoning, which happened about a week ago and 2 weeks ago.
But the idea of computers and for the crypto and being completely dependent on those things are gone. That was last year and the year before. DeFi and everything else has moved it forward. Everything has moved forward from that.
Yeah, and the entire internet was taken down 2 weeks ago by DNS poisoning.
Pardon me?
Which the entire internet was taken down 2 weeks ago. Major disruption worldwide by DNS poisoning. DNS is a system that was created when the internet was created.
I know
it has no more security. It has no more security. It has no more security than it did when it was created.
It didn't affect everyone, is what I'm telling you.
Oh, so it's okay to affect some people as long as not everybody's affected.
Correct. It didn't affect a lot of people.
Well, that's not acceptable. By the way, your credit cards are run on the same system. Your bank accounts are run on the same system.
Last year, credit card, that's something of the past.
Right. Your credit cards and your bank accounts are run on the same system.
All right. So
both are creatures of the past, honestly.
Guys, I want to.
Honestly, they're not creatures of the past because places still take credit cards, and it still requires a computer to get to your bank so that your ATM card will pay, whether you pay it through Bluetooth or you pay it through one of those touch systems. It still needs to go to a computer to validate you have any money to pay. Otherwise, you don't get your goods. So it's not a thing of the past.
Actually, it is. Merchant accounts are
Actually,
now,
it's not.
many of them are offline, and you don't have to depend on them being on the system anymore. There are many.
How are merchant accounts offline?
This is like arguing with someone about a car versus
No.
a horse.
No, it's like arguing with somebody who's been in tech his entire life. That's what it's like. My doctor clients still require a phone.
Well,
My doctor clients.
We used to talk and exchange. Fall it back into the old habit of taking a position and then not letting anyone else participate with you. We're trying to offer.
Excuse me. You just told me that what I just said was the past. It was done. It's not done anymore. That's false.
It's the past.
It's not. Well, you can keep saying that. That doesn't make it true. My doctor clients cannot process a credit card without a phone line, which also requires electricity. They can't process a credit card when a patient wants to pay them without a phone line or the internet.
I'm sorry, but you went to Thailand, which is, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of technology, a third world country. So
are you trying to diminish my technology knowledge? Are you trying to pit your technology knowledge against mine? More than almost 40 years in the business. Almost 40 years in the business. Why are you talking over me, Ruthie?
Guys.
Why is Ruthie talking over me? I have almost 40 years in the business. And you try to diminish my knowledge by saying because I moved to Thailand, I know nothing? I'm talking to you via the internet. I'm talking to you via the internet. Again, you're talking over me. I'm talking to you over the internet. Am I not?
Yes.
My connection to the world is over the internet. Is it not?
Yes, Howard.
What does my being in Thailand have to do with my knowledge? Because that's where you went. You went to, you moved to Thailand, so now you know nothing. How dare you?
It doesn't mean you don't know anything, but I'm saying that
Well, what did it mean? Explain what it meant.
She was saying
state-of-the-art technology are not in Thailand, dear. That's all I'm saying.
They're not in Thailand, so I'm sitting here in Thailand, looking at the beach, talking to you on the internet, having a conversation with Brian.
Okay, guys, let's table this and let's go.
No. She put her foot in it.
You just okay. Again,
she put her foot in it.
What's your point, Howard? What is your point?
I made my point, Brian. How dare she insinuate that my knowledge of technology has somehow diminished because I'm in Thailand? I'd like to understand I'd like to understand I just got to keep talking. I would like to hear the logical.
Your circumstances for technology are diminished. You're in Thailand.
That's what she didn't say.
Explain to me the logic.
She didn't say anything personally about you, Howard. Your knowledge of technology.
About Thailand, not you, Howard. You're not Thailand.
Yeah.
What does Thailand have to do with it, Ruthie? We're not talking about Thailand.
It has a lot to do with it because there's a lot of state-of-the-art technology that doesn't reach Thailand because its systems are too weak and too limited.
How do you know that? Can you pay somebody from your bank? Can you make a payment to somebody else from your bank? Can you go to your bank, go to the ATM, and can you send money via the ATM to anybody else with a bank account?
Yes, of course.
How long have you been doing that?
Most of my adult life.
I'm sorry, how long?
I said most of my adult life.
You've been making payments from the bank. I'm not talking about wire transfers. I'm talking about you walk up to an ATM or you log into your bank and you send money to anybody worldwide, anybody with a bank account. How long have you been able to do that?
I don't know, 22, 23 years? Why?
I doubt that very much.
Oh my gosh.
Howard, jeez.
And I'm not talking about, oh my gosh. I'm not talking about a bank wire transfer. I'm talking about you just get somebody's account number and you put it in and you say, I want to send $10 to this account. Click, 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 and the $10 is in their account. How long have you been able to do that on your bank?
23 years.
And your bank is what?
That's not fair.
Of course it's fair.
Well, why would you
of course it's fair. Wait, Brian, until you get upset, Brian. Put your hands out from touching each other, and I'll explain it to you. Because I'll call that bank, Brian, and I'll say to that bank, how long have you had this technology? And when they say we instituted that about 4 years ago, that'll be about right in the timeline. In Thailand, they've been doing that for almost 25 years. That's the normal way of doing things. It's not been that way in America. You've never been able to do it that way in America that long ago. Certainly not the way it's done today. I can send money to anybody here in Thailand in a matter of seconds. I can even use their phone number to send it to them. That's one of the newer things they started using. But don't tell me that Thailand is behind in technology. I don't live in on a farm. I don't live where there's no running water. I live by the internet. If I didn't have the internet, I'd make no money. So when you say to me that, the internet, everybody's been able to do that, and it has nothing to do with proving what wealth you have. Again, how does it work? I'd like you to go back and explain to me your comment about offline debit card payments at the counter at the gas station. You go to the gas station, you want to buy a Coke. Are you telling me that if the power goes down, you can still make that transaction?
I don't think so, Howard.
You're right. I don't think you can either.
Can we go on to the next question?
Let's
please?
go on, guys.
Okay?
Let's go.
Well, we can go on to the next question. Yes, as long as we truthfully and faithfully answer the prior question.
Why do I have?
I'm sorry.
Why does anyone have to answer? No one has. People can make statements any way they want.
No, you don't get to make statements without backing them up. Sorry, that's your style. That's your style.
We listen to you all the time. I'm looking at the listing right here. Out of 82 countries, Thailand falls 49th in technology. 49th. Okay.
What does that prove?
So leave it there.
Oh, which technology is that? No, I'm not going to leave it there. When you go into a hospital, Ruthie, and you end up in the ICU, do you think that the equipment in the hospital in Thailand is 10 years behind the United States?
Yeah, it is lacking. Yeah.
How do you know that?
From having visited there.
When?
A few years ago.
And you were in the ICU?
Remember that now we get to enjoy Zoom and we get to study who's doing what procedure.
Wait. You zoomed. Oh no, Brian. So Ruthie, you zoomed.
And yeah, they were lacking in a lot of equipment.
And what? Be specific. They were lacking. So now when I asked you, did you visit? You've now hold on. You've now backtracked. No, Brian. You don't get to go do White Night for Ruthie. Ruthie said she was in Thailand.
It's Grad, and that should end it. Okay.
Ruthie said she was in Thailand. Then she says she's there by Zoom.
Now you're like you know everything.
Come on, Ruthie.
Other people have visited Thailand. We have been there. We have eaten there. This is not a cold country. I mean, now it is. But
not you. Can you can show me a stamp?
Easily.
You have a stamp in your passport that says you were in Thailand?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is okay.
Yeah.
No, Brian. No, don't white knight, Brian.
All
No.
Howard, all this is right now is it's
Can
just
we go to the next question?
yeah, we're going.
No. This is how to make Ruthie do the humana.
Why do you want to do that? What's the purpose of that?
I didn't make her do that. She made the statement.
Why do
I asked her if she'd been in Thailand,
what are you looking for?
and she said yes.
What do you?
Now
Yeah,
I'm coming at you, Howard. What are you looking
She
for?
said yes.
What do you find there that you didn't find in the U.S.?
What does that have to do? What does that have to do with this discussion, Ruthie?
let's go, Howard.
That's called a non sequitur.
Howard,
No, Brian. Ruthie made a statement which apparently wasn't true.
Howard, what is the purpose
Howard,
of
we
this?
still love you. Move on.
She made an untrue statement. Why?
Okay, you feel it's untrue. Why do you want to continue this? I do
It's
not.
not that I feel it's untrue. She said it. She said she was in Thailand
Point of that.
a few years ago, and now we find out it was by Zoom. By Zoom.
Okay.
So what do you care? What do you care?
Why can't you let?
Listen, well, that's like me saying that I was in Brian's apartment because I've been on Streamlink.
Howard. Okay, Howard. I'm gonna.
When they panned the room. With
Oh, Brian, are you going to cancel me? Are you going to cancel me, Brian? Is that what you're going to do? Are you going to become one of the cancel people? Are you going to cancel me, Brian? Just admit it. If you're going to cancel me, then admit that you are one of those cretins who cancel people.
Oh my God, Howard, please. It's New Year's. Let's enjoy each other.
I don't care about any particular day, Ruthie. Any day is a good day to have a discussion. You stepped your foot into it. It went squishy, squish, and it wasn't pleasant.
That's how you see things when things don't go your way. You always get very aggressive.
How'd they not go my way? You just lied.
She did. Okay, Howard. That's not true.
How's that not true?
Because
she told me she was in Thailand. Then she backtracks and tells me she's in Thailand via Zoom.
She said she was in Thailand. You asked her how many years ago. You're just trying to.
She said a couple of years ago. Now she says it was via Zoom.
Enjoy New Year's, Howard.
Yeah. You're in the hot seat, Ruthie, not me. So you can not enjoy it. I am.
There's no hot seat here.
Well, then cancel me. Then cancel me, Brian. Go ahead and cancel me. Be one of those cancel people, Brian.
Howard,
just admit that that's who you are.
You are. Well, you're in this case, perhaps because you're being obnoxious. You just won't.
No, I'm not. I'm just pointing out the fact.
That is the right word.
Okay. All right. Then let's be very clear, Ruthie. Have you ever physically stepped foot in Thailand? Yes or no?
Yes.
How long ago?
I'd have to say 13 years ago.
13 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Lots happened in 13 years. Where I live right now, Ruthie. So you're giving 13-year-old information, and Howard being on the ground in Thailand. Why is your information better than mine? Can you answer that?
Are you talking to me, Howard?
Yes. I'm on the ground in Thailand. You have knowledge that comes from 13 years ago.
Dear, you don't speak for all of Thailand. You would like
No, I certainly don't. I don't even put up for Thailand.
In a conversation, and you push your point that everybody shuts up. We did that for 20 minutes? We just went on with a quiet radio show because you took over.
Because you tried to deceive everybody.
You won't relent.
No, you tried to deceive everybody. All right. Will you admit that your firsthand knowledge about Thailand is 13 years old? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Will you admit that Howard's knowledge of Thailand?
Excuse me. And my constant communication with them is through phone, Zoom, or internet.
Okay. And will you admit that Howard's information on Thailand is right up to the minute because he lives here?
No, because you don't live in all of Thailand. You live in one place, and you don't.
Oh, wait a second. Did you go to all of Thailand when you came to Thailand? Were you everywhere?
No, we weren't. But then again,
Then why would you bring that up? Wait. Why would you bring that up with me when you came to Thailand as a tourist, I suspect, and you did touristy things, you saw touristy things, which is probably better than what the real Thailand looks like. But why would you say that? Why would you say when I say that I'm here, my knowledge is current up to the minute?
Why don't you let it go and let's go into the next question?
No, because you have tried to
answer that question.
Stop it, Brian. Brian, stop it.
All right, I'm going to
stop it, Brian. Stop.
I'm going to remove you. You're just being.
Oh yeah, well, cancel culture right there.
No,
fat man with a fat bald man cancel culture. There you go.
You're being belligerent. You're being belligerent.
Why would Ruthie try to diminish my knowledge by saying I'm not everywhere? At the same time, hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Technology is not up to par with the rest of the world.
How do you know that? How do you know that? I live here. I see it firsthand. Why would you?
2 countries, it comes in 49.
Why would you? Okay, I don't even know what you're referring to, and it doesn't matter. Why did you try to diminish? Why did you try to diminish? No, Ruthie, this is personal now. Why did you try to diminish? Why? No, it's personal.
Enjoy New Year's. Can't we just enjoy it?
No, because I didn't attack you. I didn't attack you. You attacked my knowledge.
I'm talking about Thailand's internet.
You attacked my knowledge.
You took it on.
You're talking in the, you took Thailand, a solar flare, all this stuff. I mean, you bring
up
analogies.
But Ruthie has decided to use ad hominem attacks to attack my knowledge. You said I can't be. Stop interrupting.
Not true, Howard.
You said. But you in the same breath, Ruthie, say that my knowledge, I can't be everywhere, but yet somehow when you say something about Thailand and you tell me what you know, apparently you are everywhere. And now I would like to ask you this question, Ruthie. How are you everywhere? How'd you do that?
Technological readiness ranking.
I would like to. Well, you're reading something from what?
I think that
you haven't named your source. What's your source?
I just named it. The Economist
No, you didn't.
Intelligence Unit's Technological Readiness.
Howard, you just want to argue. Howard, you just want to argue.
Brian, stop talking over her because I can't hear her. What is the source so I can look it up?
Economist Intelligence on Thailand. Would you like
Economist Intelligence? I certainly would like the link.
Give me the link and I'll send it to Howard.
Where do I put it? Okay, give me what email or whatever you want me to use. I'll send it to you.
Well, just send it in the chat in Skype.
Oh, absolutely. Give me the link for the chat. Are you on Skype?
I'm on Skype right now. Give me the thing and I'll send it to Howard.
First of all, this started, let's be clear. This started by your asking me the question of what is it that's so great about living in Thailand that I can't get in America, which I'm not entirely sure had anything germane to the conversation.
What are you doing there? Why are you there?
I'm living freely.
What does that mean? You live for free? Or you
No, you know exactly what that means. And you know, Ruthie, that when I say something, I'm very careful what comes out of my mouth. I'm living freely. Hold on. I didn't say I was living for free. Did you hear that? Did you hear me say I was living for free?
Freely. You said freely.
Okay.
Freely. That's exactly what I said. I am living more as a free man than I would in the United States.
You sound like
why are you so angry? So you should be happy and joyous.
You sound like you're having a manic episode.
I'm angry at your insinuation is what I'm angry.
You sound like you're having a manic episode, Howard.
Yes. I'm angry at your sniping and trying to chip away
Here it
at
is.
one mind.
Silence by the Economist Intelligence. technological readiness, struggling to get ahead. Thailand ranks 49th out of 82 countries in the Economist Intelligence Unit's technological readiness ranking for 2018 to 22.
To do what? Wait a minute. To do what? To do what, Ruthie?
State-of-the-art technology. It's still behind.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Because we were talking about, I thought we were talking about medicine.
All right, I'm putting it in the chat room.
See what I was referring to because he wanted a source. That's the source.
There, I put it in the chat room, Howard.
Well, okay. Unlike Brian, Ruthie, I'm able to track that conversation all the way back. In my mind, it's very clear.
Stay angry for weeks and weeks and weeks.
It has nothing to do with anger or anything else. I am
years and you're still not relaxed and joyful. I would love.
I am able, Ruthie.
I'm
able. Well, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, you sound like you're having a manic episode.
A manic episode, Brian? Are you medically qualified to make that determination?
I'm just saying pattern recognition. I've been.
Are you medically qualified to make that determination?
I'm not. I am not. I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm not giving you.
Howard, come on. We want to enjoy you.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me.
Are you medically qualified to do anything?
It's New Year's.
Can I answer that question?
Happy New Year's, fellas.
I'm only saying pattern recognition. I am not diagnosing. I'm not making a diagnosis. I'm saying what it sounds like, and I'm just giving a.
I'm in Florida, and it sounds the same to me, and I'm not a doctor, but I've come across lots of people having panic situations, and Howard, you sound like you're right in the middle of one.
Yeah.
It sounds like a crisis.
It sounds like an absolute manic breakdown.
Well, look, you can describe my situation anything that you want.
Joe, wait a minute. Joe's the one who's qualified. Joe, pitch in here.
Well, Joe just.
We don't know that.
Joe
didn't just leave. Joe left almost an hour ago.
No, well. That's how long. That's how long your manic episode has lasted, Howard. You've been just here arguing with Ruthie the whole time, and you're just you're bogarting my show, Howard.
Am I arguing, Brian, or am I defending?
You are bogarting.
Am I arguing, Brian, or am I defending my knowledge?
You enjoy arguing. I mean, and I think that
he loved it. He loved it, and I baited him, and he fell again.
All right, next.
You're more of a relative to me than you realize, Howard.
Ruthie, you're lucky that I take you with a grain of salt. I gave you 5%.
I love you for it. And listen,
I gave you 5%.
New Year's here, Howard. It's New Year's here. It's New Year's.
Yeah, so what?
Happy New Year's.
Wait a minute. Why does that make a difference? It's another day.
It's another
construct.
Year, Howard. Howard, you are such a Grinch. You are a Grinch.
It's a social construct, Ruthie.
You are Grinchy.
It's another minute. It's another millisecond. It's another second. There's nothing different. Brian. Stop, Brian.
Old man. You're a Grinchy old man. You're a Grinchy, grouchy old man.
We're gonna have to go to Thailand to visit him.
Oh yeah.
Let me tell you what I have in Thailand, Ruthie, that might enlighten you.
Will they let us in, Howard? Because I know a lot of places are restricting.
They'll let you in after a 14-day quarantine.
Oh, I won't do that.
I suggest you bring gobs of money.
In a hotel for 14 days?
Depends on what kind of hotel, because you get to pay for it.
All right.
Well, Thailand is run by people who don't think. Now, we've got lots of people who don't think in the United States. They're called citizens. And a lot of them are not citizens.
That's called perhaps the world, including myself, Howard. So, can we? We'll go on.
Well,
to
Brian. No, I was going to tell you. Howard. I was going to tell you why I'm living freely in Thailand, but you
go ahead. Why are you living freely, Howard?
I'm curious too. Tell us.
See, I don't know. You can't hear the waterfall below my condo, but that's all day long.
Yeah. Is that the devil?
Nice white noise.
Oh.
You can't see the beach as I am looking out of my office window directly at it.
You know what? I would.
You don't see my sunset.
And photograph it and put it on the chat room so we can see that.
Yeah, Howard.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, Brian. Brian's already seen it plenty of times. And hold on, Brian. Brian's already seen it, Ruthie. Hold on, Brian. Hold on. Let me show you what a fraud you are, Brian. You've already seen that in the chat. You've already seen. I don't know why you're talking over me, Ruthie. I don't know why Brian is either. I was trying to answer the question, but Brian has shown how disingenuous he is by piling on and going, "Yeah, Howard, let's see pictures of that."
I'm not
when Brian.
Howard.
Well, hold on.
I wanted
Stop.
you to see, Howard. Jeez.
Oh, so you admit that you've seen pictures of that already.
Seen it. What's the point here?
What did you see? Well, hold on. What did you see in those pictures, Brian?
Condo. But I think that waterfall and that swimming pool, I hope there's a load of lithium in there. Just
what did you see, Brian, in the pictures that you saw in Discord? Tell us.
Oh, beautiful waterfall. It was a beautiful condo. Wonderful.
Uh-huh. Did you see the ocean, Brian?
Beautiful tropical places. They're gorgeous. Can we see some pictures of that? We would love it.
Show them in the chat, and I'll give them to Ruthie. Put
them in the chat.
Show you in what? Wait a minute. Hold on. Stop, both of you. What chat do you think I'm going to put them in? Go ahead. Tell me right now. Which one?
Which
one am I sharing with you? Do I have the ability to upload photos to StreamYard?
I don't know.
Well, then if you don't know, don't open your big fat gob as if you do know, because you don't. I don't see any way of uploading a photo. So when you sit there like some fat smartass and tell me, well, show us, Howard, show us how good it is over there, and you don't even know that it's possible to do that, how dare you?
Okay.
Now apologize to the one angry Jew for coming off like such a.
Actually, Howard, you can go on Discord and show me. Let me see if Let me see if I have your.
I'm not on Discord, Brian. I'm on Streamlink talking to you. I'm watching you through YouTube. Can I upload a picture to YouTube? Not that I want to.
I don't know.
So again, you don't know, but you sat there in your chair with your Dyson fan behind you, and you said, "Come on, Howard, show us, Howard. We'd like to see." As if giving the impression, Brian, that I was unable to do so. How dare you?
I'm not. Where do you get that assumption, Howard?
I get it by the way you're talking, Brian.
No.
You say it in a way, you're goading me on as if it's something that I'm not able to do. I am able to do it. It's just I'm not able to do it in the particular setup that you've got now. But you will leave somebody listening with the impression that I'm just full of crap and I'm making it up. That's what you're doing. How dare you?
That is not my intent, Howard.
Well, that's the impression people get, Brian.
No,
I have the capability.
No, you're wrong. That's not.
Oh, how am I wrong?
We just got.
First of all, he wasn't even sure that you could upload or not upload. He didn't know.
Put it anywhere you wish. We would love to see it.
Okay, but he doesn't know.
And I heard that garden is gorgeous and that the view is beautiful. I would love to see it. I never had the chance. I
wake up to it every day. I have that view from my bedroom. I have that view from my one living room. I have that view from my second living room. Now, let me describe something so that maybe you understand. While Brian sits in his very sparsely decorated condo, his apartment, somewhere in Los Angeles, somewhere in the confines of Los Angeles County, while he sits there and he laments about all the bad things in America. I, on the other hand, oh, by the way, he pays almost $2,000 a month for the privilege of getting an empty
By the way,
shell.
how long have you been in Thailand now?
5 years. 5 years. Brian sits in his apartment.
U.S. or are you going to stay right there?
I am never returning to the U.S. You can have it. Why would I want to?
Coming back?
I'll never go back. It's a mess.
Wow.
While I sit here in Thailand in a roughly 1,000 square feet condo, 2 condos, back to back, side to side. I have 2 bedrooms, both with ensuite bathrooms at the opposite ends of the condo. I have 2 kitchens, 2 everything, 2 living rooms. I turn one into my office. I turn around as I'm talking to you, Ruthie, and I look at the ocean. I'm staring at the ocean. It's not far away.
Please share it with us. I'd love to see that.
Yes. I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you what I pay.
Can you
for
hear?
this.
Can you hear my voice? Can you hear my sincerity? I'm not being sarcastic. I really would love to see it.
Okay. Well, and Brian can let you onto Debbie's Discord, and those pictures are all there. By the way, I pay a whopping $450 a month for this opulence.
No way you're going to come back. I get it.
Why would I? What you're right. Why would I come back to say Los Angeles? Forget about all the monkey crap that's going on there.
Where did
Why
you
would I
live,
come back?
Howard, when you were in the States? What state were you in?
Philadelphia, the suburbs. But why would I come back to live in America? When you go and you get a condo here, you get a furnished condo. It's already furnished with everything you need, right down to pots and pans and spoons and everything. So when you go look at a condo, you look at the condo, you look at how it's furnished, you look at the amenities. I have within a 1 minute walk.
Come back here. You're right.
I have within a 1 minute walk a sauna, which I use every day. I have within less than a minute walk a swimming pool. Not a Olympic size swimming pool. That would be too small.
It doesn't have to be. A regular pool is fine.
I have a pool that holds 1.5 million gallons.
I don't know the difference between gallons in one pool or another. I don't measure them by gallons.
Okay, I can tell you that an Olympic pool.
Can I see the pictures?
Yeah, an Olympic pool. An Olympic pool is probably 100,000 or 150,000 gallons. I have a pool that is 1.5 million gallons.
That's very large.
It encompasses the entire
What's the next question, Brian?
All right.
It encompasses the entire complex. When I want to order food, Ruthie, last night I had KFC delivered. KFC is about as expensive in the U.S. as it is here, but the delivery was free. They brought it to my condo door. When I order food, I order it online. I get it delivered from the top grocery stores, and they bring it to my door. I haven't put a foot.
They do the same thing here, Howard.
Yes, but they've been doing the same thing here for about. They've been doing the same thing here for about 10 years. It wasn't due to the pandemic. They've always done it.
All right. Next question.
Yes. What's the next one?
What will be if any, the emerging countries in 2022?
Oh, the only one you got to worry about is China.
And Ruthie, do you have any insight into the countries that will be emerging besides China?
I see many countries emerging. Vietnam is doing very well.
Vietnam closed their doors.
There are countries in Asia and countries in the Caribbean who've gotten all crypto and they're doing very well. So Salvador, they're emerging. They're taking on things that they couldn't do before, but now with cryptocurrency they can. Salvador is doing very well, and now Peru is going in the same direction. So I see lots of countries coming up. I see that.
The question that you need to ask yourself is, which of those countries does China have its hooks into? Now, last night I heard.
I don't care.
Last night,
because it's got the biggest hooks it's got is in the U.S.
No, not true.
What country?
Last night I heard that China's got its hooks into Colombia, and I thought Colombia.
Oh, absolutely.
Colombia was a place. Colombia was a place I was thinking of living in. Mexico is a place I'm thinking of living in. So you got to think about where China's got its hooks into, because I wouldn't go to anywhere where China controls. And that is becoming hard to do these days. China's not controlling Thailand. They're trying. They're trying to get into some joint effort with Thailand with a train from Thailand, Bangkok, all the way to Beijing. And you can bet that it'll be a bad deal for Thailand. And Thailand's done some really stupid things. And this could be one of the most stupid things they do.
Will they let you run for office there with all your ideas? That might be a great place.
I'm not even able to own property. No, I'm not even able to own property here. See, the Thais are not as stupid as people think they are.
I guess not.
Why would the Thais want me to own property? I can own this condo if I want, as long as the ownership of the entire condo doesn't exceed 50%. Foreign, non-Thai. If I wanted to own it, I put it in my son's name.
I've seen that in other countries. I've seen that before.
That's right. And you know what you see? You see a country that doesn't get taken over by other countries.
Okay, Brian, what was the next question?
All right, the last question of the night.
By the way, I want to add a comment to that little point there that I just made. I would like to take in America every Chinese and throw them the hell out unless they have citizenship. If they have anything less than citizenship, I would like to see them tossed out of America, every single one of them. Most of them are spies.
Okay, Brian, the question?
All right, so last question of the day. What would be your recommendation for someone with limited education and limited funds in the United States?
They should spend their time talking on a show like this.
Ruthie?
Online learning, because it's become the norm and it will stay the norm. You can learn anything online now, anything.
Okay, so that will end our show. Ruthie, do you have any thing you'd want to
turn off that stupid music?
Don't tell me what to do, Howard. I'm going to remove you from the stream if you
stupid music.
Ruthie, do you have anything to that you want to advertise for on our show? Of
course, as always, I advertise my businesses. GHR.network. It's cryptocurrency for the needy. It's a collection of a lot of talented people using their abilities to bring joy, happiness, wealth, and education. And now automobiles. Apparently our automobile program is doing very well. You can find our work at GHR.network.
Howard, do you have anything that you would love to sell, or any parting words before we end our wonderful show?
I disagree that this was a wonderful show.
Good enough. Okay, anything else?
No.
All right. Hey, guys, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, visit our website. And
I missed the thumbs down.
Okay, yeah, well, YouTube got rid of that, Howard. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Visit our website at transparencyandmerit.com. Also visit our Rumble page, and I will put in later on either just in the comment section of our show or in our description when I perhaps re-edit Ruthie's pages out there. So, yeah. Anyway, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, visit our Rumble page and our YouTube channel. Have a happy New Year, everyone, and may you be prosperous and healthy. Thank you.
We're going to have a